Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Quarter Clock Talk Podcast. It's your boy John, and we are here. We live to talk about the latest in football. Obviously, we're gonna do the weekend wrap up as we always do, but we'll look back on the Champions League as well. We're not gonna go through like all the teams for the Champions League. What we might do is just more watch like who is in interesting spots and stuff like that because it's the wrap up of the first ever league stage that we've had since the revamp. So we'll go through that to the end as well. To do that with me, we have Daniel joining later. But for right now, we have Virgil. Virgil, was it good?
Yeah, no idea. I just let you know my cursor hovering over the X button, so we'll see how this goes.
Hey. Hey, well, look, I'm humbled the fact that you're here, bro. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here.
Now you feel I was going duck? You feel I was going duck things?
I appreciate that you did, though. I appreciate that you did. And then we have Brandon. Brandon, was he good?
I can't say how good, I mean, this is probably the worst sporting day I've ever had. Like, I think it's the worst sporting day ever.
Hey, well, you know what?
Dallas Mavericks
as
related.
Much,
it's probably the worst,
crazy.
Worst day ever.
I know I'll say, as much as it's a football podcast, we could talk about that for like 2 minutes real fast. Dog. How has that erupted? Like the whole world, dog. Like, dog, people who do even follow basketball are shocked by this news, dog. The fact that Luka Doncic is now a Lakers player with 80 going yet next year. Obviously, there's other players involved in the trade, but that's the two big things. That's the two huge ones. And somebody who does follow basketball better than myself, carries you, Virgil. Brandon, overall thoughts?
Well, I'm a Mavericks fan, so this is like the worst. This is probably the worst thing I've ever experienced in basketball. I think in sports history too, bro. Because I mean, even when Chelsea players have left, I don't even think I felt this kind of dread. Because sometimes it felt more. I don't think I ever felt a surprise like this before. I think overall it's probably a shocking bit of news for everybody. Like the crazy thing was I woke up in the middle of the night and somehow I didn't see the news and I only saw it this morning. So I mean for me it was like an incredible shock. It was everybody's talking about it, bro. Like I saw somebody say this thing have me listening to podcasts I don't even listen to. So like so it's one of those things, boy. I would love to know how you all feel about it because I mean I know you'll
Virgil,
know him.
Any thoughts about it?
Okay, well, what I was going to ask is like, well, I don't really follow much of it recently, but like I always know people view stars like Doncic who they are Mavericks as kind of having a little balance in the league. So I feel like how it is really that him going Lakers, everybody viewed it more of like is it similar to like when KD when Golden State? Or in like a lesser scale?
Well, KD was a free agent, that's the thing. So like he could have picked anywhere, and he just picked there. Like, but this is a behind the scenes like own general manager trade that nobody knew about, and like it's just these shock factors. I think what everybody trying to get over right now. I mean, it's so bad, bro. Like the owners, we'll talk about owners. Like I guess in football, like as we get along in the pod as well, but like. This is a perfect example of how owners just do things as just send fans away from the game. Yeah.
No, you're right. And I mean, like, I told Brandon, it's like a pledge. The way that I consume basketball is I vaguely keep along during the regular season. Playoff time come, I will ask him the key lunch on 15 million questions and then start back to watch it, right? And Doug last year, he dragged them to the finals. Like, no, he was so good all the way to the finals. And, like, as a casual watching it, like, it to me, it's like, oh, well, he is the cornerstone of this team. And, like, even though that's the first time they went that far during this era, you would think, all right, cool, that's he started. Like, we build off that. And it feel like if they rip the heart of the project right out from underneath them, And this is Luka, who is 25, I believe that he is. Like he's now approaching prime basketball in years, bro. Like for somebody who is injury prone, who's old, who is what was the name they give him today by Anthony Day-to-Day Davis? It's not like he doesn't even play that often. And what it seems like to me is that like the Mavs just wants to get rid of him and get whatever they can get in return. That's how bad it looks. Because to me, it looks like if the Lakers pull one over on the Mavs from where I start.
Yeah, I feel like both of you all. I'll send the interview in the group when you finish the pod. But you all need to see the interview of what the general manager said and how the coach's reaction to what he was saying. You gotta see it, bro. It looks AI, but it's real. I promise you, it's real. So you need to see it, and I think you all understand after. But I'll send it to you. After the pod, I'll send it to you.
Fair enough.
But before we go, John, I think like it's one of those situations where people will say, explain that to me in football terms. And I've been trying to think about it all day. Like, if I'm being honest with you, I could not think of one. And it's only like as we do in the pod now, I thought of it. It's kind of like if Van Dijk went to Arsenal and Saka went to Liverpool. Like, that's the best way I could describe it to you. There's no other way I could describe it to you. Like, bro, they're both insane players, bro. But like, why? Why did that happen? Like, Salah is also at Liverpool. There's LeBron at the Lakers. Like, it's a strange move. Like, there's no way to describe it. But that's the best way I can describe it in football. There's for anybody who do really follow basketball and listen to the pod.
Hey, well, I mean, look, you now talk about owners upsetting people and our fan base as complete. The owners don't do enough is Liverpool, and that is where we will be kicking off this week. As it has been leveled to me by Brandon, that we don't talk about Liverpool enough given the season that they have. And the truth is that for me, at least, it has been is that, their excellence has just kind of washed over me, A lot of these players I've come to expect performing at a certain level. And so part of what I would like to do today is actually to focus on some of the players who are that. We are going to do Mohamed Salah love fest, although he deserves all the love in the fest. Or Virgil van Dijk or stuff like that. But Brandon, I watched this game as well while you start. What was your general thoughts from the Liverpool versus Bournemouth game, where this was the first time, I can't remember the exact start, since so long ago, where two teams went into a game with an 11 plus undefeated streak. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I know we started with the star players of the game, and for me, bro, and one of the star players of the season, Ryan Gravenberch, has continued to impress. He is by far one of the best midfielders in the league. I think like without his performance against Bournemouth, I think like they would not have been able to see the game out the way that they did. His ability to get out of pressure, bro, it's like unreal. I still am in shock at how I would like you all to tell me if you've seen a more perfect position shift. I mean, I know they're both midfielders, but an attacking midfielder going to a defensive-minded midfielder, that has really taken me by surprise. I never thought I would see something like this from him. And I mean, other than that, I mean, Liverpool, they have the best attack in the league, bro. This is going to happen. This is always, if they need a goal, I think you fear if you have a 1-0 lead against Liverpool, because you know that at some point somebody is going to score. It could be a player who's out of form. It could be Diaz. When is the last time Diaz actually scored? I can't even remember.
A very long time. I know. I brought him into fantasy like 3 weeks ago, but they actually had the right, but no.
Yeah, and I mean, we're looking at it from that point of view, and then I mean, on the other side, Bournemouth's streak is snapped. And
we'll get to them. We'll get to them.
Yeah, we will. So
so then I'll just ask you one time, since we're doing spotlight players now, right? It's Gravenberch. That's where you go with face spotlight player.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I mean, like, for me, another one of the is minute details there, but that really stood out to me at the weekend with him was like, and I think this is something that you can probably gain from converting somebody who was an attacking midfielder to being a DM, is the pause on the ball. He doesn't just rush to get rid of the ball on the first exit that he has, but our awareness to take a touch, to take a little extra time, turn on the ball and pass it forward. And I think that ability to be all action from him at the base of the midfield and even carry it forward has been, really revolutionary. And not so much to discredit Klopp for not getting this out of him when we know that there has been a DM issue at Liverpool for a good while since Fabinho was declining, but more to acknowledge Arne Slot and what he has done with him this season and reusing him. And I mean, we talk about Salah, we talk about Trent, we talk about Van Dijk, and all these players that we expect the level that they are at now, even if it is at best to the world level, that we knew that they were capable of this. This is something nobody saw coming. this breakout from him is something that nobody saw coming. Virgil, from wherever it is all in the table, looking up at Liverpool now, what was your general feelings about what they are doing?
I mean, you can't really describe it as surprising, really, because we know if you're comparing it to how they were last season, the only surprise will really be that you didn't expect them to be this good for how the season was, or not really necessarily this good, this consistent, really, because the new manager come in, we know it's a big shift from what they had before, but I mean, you would like to think that they would have some faults in Liverpool's play, but I feel like coming into a game like this and being so dominant, so dominant in this game, you're looking at any fault that Liverpool have, they're able to just fix it right there on the field. They're able to just to keep going. And looking at this Liverpool side is like, yeah, I mean, you can't do anything but envy them. They feel like they have everything. The attack coming together. As you mentioned, even players that are not in form, they could show up. And it just comes down to like everybody in the team really contributing. It's a full team they have there. Down to the midfield looking dangerous at sometimes, and the defensive performance people haven't really talked about how good the defense has been as well. It also has been solid despite being a little shaky at times when it comes down to injuries. But looking at Liverpool right now, Liverpool really moving forward. You really can't think of anything that could throw them off right now, throw them off this momentum.
And I mean, like, look, even in this game, they had moments where they did ride their luck a little bit in front of the goal, right? Like, this was probably one of the worst executing performances we saw from Bournemouth for this season. Like, that miss from Justin Kluivert was big, and that had 1-0, could have probably allowed them a gateway back into the game. But what I was going to then ask Virgil is, even though yes, it has been a loss this week, but Bournemouth, we talk about come off an 11-game unbeaten run, has put some big teams to the sword in that time as well. What have you taken away from what Iraola has managed to do in the second season, despite losing Solanke, despite losing players to injury and stuff like that?
No, exactly that. We always talk about with respect to like Liverpool. He was able to not only rely on that one star player, but instead of just swapping out for Solanke, have this whole team that contributing. So it's not just relying on one person. And despite this loss, we're looking at this of they losing to a Liverpool side that is top of the table right now. So this is not necessarily anything that you'll see as a big problem for Bournemouth moving forward. I mean, their unbeaten run was bound to come to an end, going up against the Liverpool side. But there's not something that really going to dampen them because, if you're talking about, if you can look at it from whatever lens, Bournemouth overperforming, it might be, you don't know when they'll just, you don't know if they'll just revert back to, drop off in form. But I mean, they already have so much to build from. Like we're looking at everything, even from this game, they have so much to build from moving forward. So it's still a long way to go in the season, and Bournemouth will definitely be looking at a European spot right now. And I feel like with everything that they've been through already at this stage, they can't help but find confidence or find ways to to press on and continue forward.
Brandon, as the Pods resident hater of Bournemouth, I had an accident though. I know obviously they lost this weekend, which would bring you joy, but the run has been something impressive. Before I ask you something else about Liverpool, what do you think should be the ceiling or the expectation for Bournemouth this season with the way that they are going?
Well, the minimum would be top half of the table because I think they finished 12th last season, so I think minimum would be top half of the table. I mean, bro, the sky's the limit for them. Like they have some of the most exciting players in the league. I mean, like everybody just talk highly of a lot of their players. Semenyo, Kirkes, Howson, Zabani, even is having a great season.
Big
up my boy Kepa, who actually is also having a good season.
He has it.
But yeah, I mean, even they could easily qualify for Europe. I know the irony of all of this, John. You used to laugh at me because I used to say that Iraola wasn't good because he didn't get Europe, and well, he might get European football this season. So I mean, that's something to definitely praise, especially the team that
it is.
There's at
And
least
you know, like
something
you were
to
talking
that.
about like the attacking options that they have. I thought, you know, Marcus Tavernier has become somewhat forgotten because of like how much other players have stepped up. I thought he was really good when he came on yesterday. Actually, you know, was really really sharp, trying to make things happen and stuff. And so, like, I do see a lot of players that you can't see the potential that could get picked off and go to other teams also.
You know what's crazy about Tavernier as well? Like the 2 misses of the season from Bournemouth have been from his shots.
Yes,
Both of his
yes.
shots have gone to players and they've skied it in an open goal.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy.
That's incredibly unfortunate.
Last thing, back to Liverpool. So Liverpool obviously are in a good moment right now. They are definitely favorites to win the league. They should go on to win the league from here, right? But they do have a job to do. I want to say midweek, but I think I'm wrong in saying midweek against Tottenham. You know, so but they have that to do. They have obviously good standing in the Champions League and the league and the FA Cup and stuff. You know, like how do you see that? That because Slot, in my opinion, has not really done a lot of rotating so far this season. How does he manage all these competitions to see them go as far as they possibly can?
Who you asking?
You.
Oh, sorry. Bro, he has a good team, you know, like he has a deep squad. They have a lot of good players. We've seen a lot of good youngsters as well. So, you know, they have a deep squad. They have a deep enough squad. I think they will really go out. The thing is, they're playing Plymouth in the FA Cup. That's the game after. So, I mean, they could go all out for the Spurs game and rest for the Plymouth game. And they still should beat Plymouth. No disrespect to Plymouth fans, if you listen to the pod. But, yeah, I mean, apart from that, I think they'll be able to rotate pretty well. I'm not worried about that or whatever. I don't think Stott is either as well. That's the thing. I think Stott is a very calculated
Tuesday. I didn't realize the game was Tuesday. Okay.
But the FA Cup game is Sunday.
Yes.
So it's a small turnover for that. And then they play Everton on Tuesday.
Yes,
Tuesday
that's
after.
correct. And then the City game is not after that. Is after that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, nice. Any last thoughts before we move on from here? I thought Silverslide wasn't at his best at the weekend. And McAllister, I don't know what point McAllister again, like you say, Slot is a calculated battle. That man see McAllister was walking the tightrope again, a second yellow, and say, nope, come here. And take him off. You know, but
exactly.
Yeah. I guess you probably would say is you do want to see somebody else step up to help Salah in front of the goal, you know, because it is him. It is really him. And the person that you do trust to do that, injured right now. In Jota, who can't seem to stay fit. But yeah, cool. Nice. All right, well, I mean, we can't prolong this anymore. Today was Arsenal 5, Manchester City 1. If all you like trivia, I have plenty today, dog. And I want to say, again, out the front, dog, Liverpool will now win this league, despite the fact that we are second and 9 points ahead of City. So just forget all that. More to enjoy today for what it is, though, because I think it was last week Tuesday. I had a little vent to Brandon of how much this club really has been stressing me out. But today is a good day, and we go in and embrace it for what it is, though. So, Virgil,
No.
what was your thoughts heading into the game? Man. Don't tell me your thoughts when you start to see all this start to get whitewash. But heading into the game.
You see, going into this game, Arsenal versus City has become a rivalry in itself. So you feel like for certain games like that, no matter
it has
how
a needle
play,
pointed. It does have a needle pointed.
Yeah, because I mean that's what does even Arteta made comments and said.
I don't know what you know.
And
I'm not just saying this because we win it all, but I love it, you know. Honest to God, the CDs robots.
I like that. So that's why I say going into this, knowing that and just hearing the comments from even Arteta confirming and saying it's deeper than what people think. It's not just there is a rivalry there. So even it's amongst the players and all. So the fact that players holding grudges from since the last game and you can still see it coming out on the game. I like football like that. But for me, from like a City point of view, you know that things have not been the best. You know, right now we still, trying to find back our rhythm, trying to find back that form. and you felt like there should not be no need for any additional motivation behind that. So going into this game, you felt like there's nothing more that needs to be said. We're stepping out of this battle, and you're out for blood. It just so happened most of the blood was just self-inflicted wounds that we were that we were doing to ourselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like in moments like that, you can look at it for so many from different angles. You can look at it from if you want to be positive and be like, all right, well, we're glad they was able to get all these stuff out of the way, and they could iron these wrinkles moving forward to some big ties they have in the future, because this February, if you look at City's schedule, February is our only big games.
Yeah. It is actually ridiculous.
Yeah, it just only big games. It's a really make or break month. But also, you can look at it from that way, but you can also look at it from the other negative way and be like, you would expect more. You expect players to be focused. You expect players to really have to give 110%. Not saying that the players were not out there playing, but these little mistakes and stuff, it can happen. Even if you want to admit that the title is over and everything. As I said, this arrive in itself.
Real quickly though, Virgil, when you watch the lineups, what did you think? Because for me, honestly, again, just being honest, dog, when I saw KDB was in lineup is when I started to feel like, okay, cool, we can get this done. Because it is very well known how much this man has been a menace to my club. But not just the general threat of him, but it is of the person who can make the difference. It is a creative something, What we saw end up in the game is that even when City had possession, it was very much horseshoe stuff. It was very much not penetrative. It was not actually creating much danger, And when I saw that he was not starting, and I saw that the midfield was going to be something like Frodden and Bernardo Silva and Kovacic, I didn't feel like there was going to be much threat there, that there was going to be much defensive transitions, stuff like that. So how did you feel when you saw the lineup come out?
No, I agree with that, because honestly, I feel like the lineup felt a lot stronger for that Chelsea game. I feel like for that game, even for this, is like you're looking at the opposition, and I feel like with all the injuries that we have had, and with the certain dipping forms on certain players out, sometimes you'll get it right, sometimes it'll be like 60% right, and I feel like the big missing piece was that De Bruyne factor, because even if he couldn't play the full 90 minutes, I feel like starting De Bruyne in a game like that, you'll definitely need that, because throughout the game, from the minute that I saw, okay, we have to rely on the likes of, we have to rely on Foden and Bernardo Silva to create chances for Haaland. Don't get me wrong, they're good at holding possession and everything out there, but the only person that really puts their head up and look for Haaland is Savinho.
I mean, it's so real with it. How that I Foden actually slip a pass with the two men, and I was absolutely shocked. I was like, you know what, dog? He actually do it once.
It have games where you'll do it, because obviously Foden and De Bruyne partnership there, but I mean all credit to Marmoush, him bringing the energy and everything, but
yeah, but he's no El Neni. Brandon, as we did watch the game,
I forget this man was in the press.
Now that from what was your thoughts from the game?
Well, I just would like to not be very kind to City today, because what was that? It was terrible. It was.
We do it City first.
I have never watched. I don't think this is the first time I watched a City game, and I actually said this is very painful to watch. It is incredible how low the level is compared to how it was last year and 2 years ago. It is incredible how it has dropped. I think it's incredible that Pep did not pick De Bruyne again for another big game. I think that speaks volumes. I don't know if it's because he's not fit. I don't know if he doesn't trust him. Either way, I think
I think physically he doesn't trust him.
To me, I think that in itself is a big problem, because that means that I don't think we're going to see Kevin De Bruyne in this league for very much longer. Because if Pep isn't trusting him like that, I can't see him staying.
But then that asks bigger questions about where the squad is, though. Because
and that's the thing, and that's what I was now gonna say. I have a new one to add to the Foden Saka rivalry debate, whatever you want to call it. Foden today had 0 goals, 0 assists, Zero
I
shots,
had that
zero
book
shots
back.
on target, zero chances created, zero successful take-ons, zero touches in the opposition box, zero accurate crosses, and zero tackles won, bro. You know who also had that, bro? Saka, who was sitting up in the
Saka.
stands, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you can't, bro. What it, dog? And you know what? He had a wonderful pass for Party, a wonderful pass for him.
Yeah.
Great goal,
And they had a
good
next one.
deflection, bro.
Wonderful.
The English Beckenbauer they call John Stones. You know, please give me a break,
Yeah.
please. That was disgraceful. He and Akanji, terrible, bro. Ortega, was that Onana in disguise? Please let me know. I would like to know. It's one of those Scooby-Doo moments. It's like, oh my god, look who it is. Like,
Yeah.
bro, what was that? Every time he kicked the ball long, it was going straight to the Arsenal defense. It made no
Yeah.
sense. Continuously doing the same thing over and over. And bro, I have to say, after being on the Bernardo Silva should be in one of the top players in the world conversation, I am jumping off the train, bro.
Yeah.
And letting you know
same.
from now,
Yeah.
I'm jumping it off, bro. He should have been sent off today too.
Yeah.
You know, like people are not going to talk about that because you all won the game. You know, classic. But at the same time, he should have been sent off, bro. Like this,
bro.
It's actually ridiculous. It kind of
Yeah, it was
disgraceful.
punitive. It
How
was so
terrible,
punitive,
terrible.
bro.
How and he's captain too, bro. Like you know,
Yeah.
like and you know, on the flip side, I'll turn it to Arsenal now, bro. What a performance from Odegaard. That is our captain's performance. And I think Martinelli was your man in the match today. I thought he was great. Like he didn't get a goal, he didn't get an assist. He wasn't
assist.
great in front of. Well, I mean, but I mean, I was talking about early on.
Yeah.
But,
Really
you know, good
assist.
finish in the end anyway. But like he played really well. I thought like he brought a lot of energy that you all needed going forward. And every time he was a part of the attack, it looked way better. Big up Rice. Rice has the right mentality. He is a world-class player. That's what you need from those type of players. You know, and you know, I thought Gabriel again was great. Like he is proven to be one of the best. I think he's and this might be a hot take. I think he's far clear of Saliba right now. Like far, and not even close. Like it's really big. I would pick him over Saliba. I never thought I'd say that. But I'm picking him over Saliba right now. So you know, you all had an incredible performance. This is the best performance of the season. This is better than the PSG performance, in my opinion. You all played extremely well.
Yeah, and I mean, like, look, you brought up Martinelli, and I really want to talk about City first, and then we'll go into Arsenal more. But I said, somebody said this to me a very long time ago, boy, and it's not that I thought it wasn't right or wrong. I just didn't really take it in. And they said that a lot of times performances come before the output, you know, and that sometimes it takes the player to, you know, get back into his good groove before you start to see the goals and the assists and the this and the that and whatever. And the thing is, you know, we did lose to Newcastle and we did get knocked out by United. But like around there, honestly, I think Martinelli started to play a lot better. You know, in fact, even a little bit before that. And credit where is due. Since Saka has been out, I think that he has really tried harder. It hasn't always come off, but he has tried a lot harder. And since the start of January to now, I think the performances has been matched. Because not just today, it is the Spurs game, it is the two Champions League games, it was the today as well. And it has been the Villa game, that was the one I was trying to remember too. And a lot of games that he's putting together that, you know, okay, yes, you are still capable of showing at this level. But, you know, back to City, obviously this is just the latest result in a bunch of bad results. It's only the second night Pep Guardiola has ever conceded 5 in a game. But is a lot of things coming back together once again to roost. And the thing is, going into this game, as much as I know City have not been in a great place, I have not lost the respect for what they are, because I know the second that you don't watch them for who they are, you will get punished. You know? And I know that as Virgil pointed out, there is a rivalry brewing. And they would have saw that as extra motivation to try and come here and get something over the line. I credit to the team for them not letting that happen and inflicted onto them what they have done to us in the past. But when we watch the City performance, Akanji, bro, this is somebody that we have both spoken about extremely highly as one of the best buyers that has happened under Pep Guardiola. 16 million for somebody who at points, I think had
looked like a 16 million player today.
That could have been their best defender at points. But you know what he looked like today? He looked like Dortmund Akanji. That is where it looked like, you know, shaky on the ball, unconvincing, trying to pass out the back, unwilling to receive the ball in possession and stuff like that. And we saw how he impacted them Ortega, I think, impacted them. John Stones impacted them. And because all these players were so shaky to try and make things happen, it's how they end up giving up so many chances. You know? And Virgil, I'll throw this to you there now. With respect to the midfield, look, I said what I said just now, and I genuinely didn't mean that as rabs or disrespect, whatever. I think that this is obviously Rodri's missing and they really want a 6, whatever. But even when you look at the 8 and the 10 options going forward, I think it's very underwhelming, especially from a creating point of view. I will never ever take away from the fact that, fore is very good at receiving, turning, and shooting, But in terms of being a midfielder, and that what's what I'm looking for, boy? It's not necessarily leadership, but leadership is a part of it. But that thing inside you to step up, make things happen, that character, that sense of character. I think that after the season he had last year, I think even last week he do some kind of interview where he was talking about how, he was player of the season last year. He was the best midfielder in the league last year. That's what he say. And how people were quick to criticize him. And this the performance they do after that. I don't think any of that is good enough. And the fact that we're talking about KDB here, after he missed half a season last year, still talking about how he needs to start this year. We are 3 windows past since then. And that issue in midfield, whether they thought fore would have been the plug fit or not, is still there and it's still apparent. So as a City fan, how do you feel about all that?
I want to ask Virg something before he answers as well. Like you could also answer this as well.
Yeah.
What was, as a fan, right? How did you feel seeing Marmoush on the left, and then looking at what Foden did in the center? Like, how did that make you feel? Like, I don't think you bought Marmoush to play on the left.
That exactly that. You see, that was the main that there because having him there, it really just seemed at some points it feel that they're trying very hard to squeeze Foden and force him to be something that he's not in these games. And don't get me wrong, we look at the quality, but we also have to remember him alongside De Bruyne is a different player. We having him there, and I feel like at times before, like early seasons when we had other players, having Foden off the right is a different player than having him just solely left, because sometimes I feel like he's get lost in his island. I feel like with all the space around him, I feel like him thinking too much is kind of mess up what comes next. But also, it also from not like I can't really put it down to him because it just really comes down to like all the players around him. I feel like looking at how Marmoush is, I feel like it would have been more effective if the roles were reversed. Even if he were just in the middle and Foden wasn't if you had somebody else to put out wide, because we look at the likes of Savinho, who's there, who I would still feel like him how he played. That was he was actually pushing, trying to get that win. The only people who
I can say one thing, right?
Yeah.
I can't lie, and as much as I will not deny that there is some sense of joy this brings to me, I do think that you're being too kind to him, man. Because at the same time, dog,
right?
Yeah, because this is your PFA Player of the Year. This is not some Player of the Month player. This is not somebody who now come on the card. This is a 25-year-old Player of the Year, dog. And I think that aside from GA, that there is a certain character and there's a certain level of performance that you expect from them, whether or not the goals fly for him or not. And I think, this last month, he had a nice little poaching sesh where he get on the end of some crosses and get some goals, and great. GA is important. Nobody can discredit that. But performance-wise, it has been chalk and cheese, bro. Mm-hmm. And I don't think for your PFA Player of the Year, that's not good enough. Again, this is not Oscar Bob, dog. This is not even Jack Grealish, who people willing to write off despite the 100 million and whatever. This is somebody who get accoladed at the highest player level last season. And while there is circumstances that you do allow, I'm not saying no, but this is now in your prime years where you just show what at your best you're capable of, and you revert back to mean, and the best you can give us is 1 month of good, smart finishes in the box, and then you revert back to not being effective in games. I don't think that is. The thing is, right? All the time, if I'm wrong, when he was on the hot streak last year, it was Ballon d'Or conversation. Up to November last year, people was telling me they still think he should be the 5th Pro Team of the Year. That kind of thing. That is where people want to put him. You want to put him next to Salah and Haaland and KDB and Saka and Palmer and these men. But dog, the barometer that them men judge by is very, very high, you know. So, and people, dog, Brandon, you can tell my lying, dog. People does not care about circumstances with Palmer. People doesn't care about circumstances with the best players, dog. And even just intent, I think there's be lacking from him. And that is why I say, like, I think you should be demanding more of him. And this could be last words, whatever, dog. Once he could get back to being fit, dog, I could easily see somewhere like Oscar Bob outperforming him if he keep playing at this level.
Yeah.
Come back, be fit and outperform him. Just on intent and willingness to impact games. He was willing to be a passenger today again.
Because the thing with Foden is that because you're right, the fact that he in this bracket now, it kind of like is open for like a different level of scrutiny. We're not talking about comparing a performance to like McAtee out there or any young player. We're looking at Foden. So that's why from seeing him week in week out and knowing the levels that he could reach and he did reach before, you know that it is there within him. But sometimes it'll be frustrating when you're seeing when we haven't signed these other players now for the midfield, because a key thing going into the season is that we needed a lot more goals from midfield because we're seeing this over reliance on Haaland. But then when we have players that not contributing to attack, we haven't at this point it just making Haaland look embarrassed to just be there because nobody trying to find him. And the first name there when De Bruyne is not on the field is Foden. So you will feel like, okay, he's the one that needs to step up, whether it be with the assist, step up with the attack, with contributing towards the attack. So you know that the solution is there because we know the player that he could be. But honestly, I have to agree, because honestly, right now, Foden is not somebody that I would say right as of right now is nailed on for like a starting spot, really. If moving forward, if we find a solution with him not in the team, not in the starting 11, I feel like if that's the best thing moving forward, that's the best thing moving forward. But you will want a player like that to respond.
Yeah.
And I think I keep going back to saying this Arsenal game is different. We're not talking about just a simple loss. This is something that I feel like nobody else needs to motivate these players for. And I really wasn't seeing no motivation from them.
Yeah, and I mean, again, get us to Brandon now a little bit too, is that like I think part of the problem is that now is like there was expectations on players like Foden to be something that they aren't, and to make up the whole of KDB missing, Rodri missing. But going to the season, they know Rodri was there, but KDB fading out and going back in. And it's not only Foden in the set, it's Foden, it's Bernardo Silva, it is Gundogan. We had Gundogan second and third and thing Brandon in our top 10 signings. Bro, he might make first at this point in worst signings for the season, and he was free. Like, that says so much. And what this City's manager, board, whatever it is, was willing to go into the season with, you know. So,
well, bro, I still does my brain does forever be like this is the problem. This is one of the interesting things about football, right? When we say who is the best player in the world, people just think about it from all different angles and things, right? I am telling you, bro, I can't remember a situation where a team lost one player and went from one of the best teams in the world and just went totally mid. Like, I have never seen something like this before. Like, I have watched football for a long time, and I've never seen anything like this before. Like, even at Hazardless Chelsea was not this bad. Like, it almost ridiculous at how like that's another thing about the best player in the world, right? Like, his importance to the team is so huge that they go from a mid team to easily the best team in the world. That is a crazy thing to say. And we're not talking about Messi. We're not talking about Ronaldo. We're not talking about Neymar. We're talking about Rodri here. Like, you know, I know many people who will tell you straight to your face, bro, Rodri could never be the best player in the world. But all I say here is, bro, that if he taken you from a mid-level team to the best team in the world,
Yeah.
That is a crazy jump. Like that, it almost, and that's where we credit players from before, like Messi, like Ronaldo, like just being the best player on the best team. And but I don't know, boy, it almost it has boggled my brain. It's almost like I've been lied to for the past 5 years.
No, that's a valid argument, bro. I can't fight that. I mean, the season has gone so badly for them that there's things that we just brush over. And I just told you all that they are 9 points behind us, which means that they are 15 points off Liverpool. Like, we are not even phased anymore because of how badly this season has gone for them. And one of the things that are so online, and honestly, God, this upset me because I'm not going to sit here and say, like, Dog Haaland was the greatest thing here today, but he get one sniff of a half chance and made an excellent striker's movement to go wrong the centre back and score. And it wasn't even a great header, but he did enough to get contact on it and stuff like that. I thought like his movement in that moment was real good, and he tried his best and stuff. But who Sky Sports and them talking about? They talk about Haaland, They're not talking about all the people behind them, boy. And I find that is so wrong. That is so wrong. And this is where, like, I think sometimes we are guilty of this too, but not as much as people like Sky and them. Not to just single them out. But like people just have this image of what they want a player to be. So Haaland use the best 9 in the world, but by at some point, Suarez is the best 9 in the world. So we want you to be Suarez, right? And don't more watch how Pep set up the system to be. Set up Haaland to do this, to do his job. And as long as he does, everybody else does their job so that Haaland can do his job. He excels. But people not watching it like that. People not watching how the players behind him are feeling. How many times Matthias Nunes get the ball wide today? Where was the cross? Where was the cross?
Even for that, for this whole concept with Haaland, that's the main thing. Because I like the concept we was talking about there about looking at Rodri. We also looking at Haaland, who is literally undeniably one of the top strikers in the world. Yeah. And the fact that and do you know how many times I look at games and realize we keep forgetting. This is not just a man. This is not the lap who we just pull up from the academy. This is Haaland. You have Haaland. You have the top striker in the world that anybody in the world would want. And it's like Haaland. You could see Haaland is like basically being there and talking. Yes, you're basically talking so much things. On your turnaround, the people behind you just making you embarrassed. Because I honestly just feel Haaland be out there sometimes embarrassed. He will literally it had a spell come to like 30-something minutes. Haaland's last touch was like the 4th minute or something. Haaland had 2 touches to this half, and it's like, what more you expect him to do? You have other players receiving the ball out wide, not crossing him. You're seeing somebody like Savinho coming and just simply cross the ball.
Like, I had a real wild thought during the game, and I'd say this kind of jokingly, but more like to the profile. When I watched the way that Matthias Nunes was used today, I was like, so why about to get rid of Kyle Walker then? Because that's one way that what Kyle Walker to do, right? Was to go on the outside, go wide, try and get to the byline and get crosses it. But like,
it's like you don't know if it's like they have no confidence in the fella they have on top. And the one thing that I'm looking at, and going back to the old Rodri talk, we're going to expect Rodri to come back. Similar like how we felt that, okay, we could plug the gap with something that we are accustomed to. Back. And that's what I remember. We actually want to plug that gap, bringing back Gundogan, right? And now that fails. So now we're going to look more internally to see how we're going to plug this gap. If Rodri comes back, and if we expect Rodri to defend, to create chances, to score goals from that one position, the one time that Rodri fails to do it, he will feel like Haaland. He will look around at all the players around him and realize, you're all just embarrassing me at this point.
That's I'm
literally the Ballon winner, and you all expect me to do everything. And the one day I will not be able to do this because he can't do this all the time because people will figure it out if the players around him.
And he come back from an ACL,
and he's come back from an ACL injury. So you need to be able to slowly bring him back. You need to be able to have quality around him and have energetic players around that can make that run. And it just seems that, again, so I'm not going to sit down here and say, okay, we didn't have the luck, we had bad luck with the injuries, but that excuse could only go so far.
Yeah, and I mean, like, look, City has spent around 200 million in the January, and it feels like these two holes we're talking about here, Rodri being missing and creativity in the team, is something they just blatantly continue to ignore. And I don't know if, like, they are resting their hopes on, like from what I could see, right, it's like Rodri coming back and then Foden and Oscar Bob taking over those mantles. But I think that is an oversight. They invest heavily in the defense. They brought in Marmoush. I think Marmoush could be a very good signing. But it feels like while it is objectively a good signing, how much of their current issues are they addressing? And it didn't really feel like that. Moving over to the Arsenal side, and I'm going to take over to say the spotlight player, because mine for me is the man who scored the third goal and the man who did the Haaland celebration and bringing back personality to football, which is Miles Lewis-Kelly. I am being fully honest here. Before the game, I did want Calafiori to start. Reason being, kind of similar to Haaland's actual goal. I think Haaland does really well to peel to the back post and try to get headers off and try to take advantage of fullbacks, right? And I was worried about Miles' ability to physically cope. Well, boy, was I wrong. And was I so glad to be wrong? Because Miles Lewis-Kelly has shown in every single moment this season that he had whatever level is required for him to step up to, he's going to step up to. Morgan Rogers has been one of the breakout players for this season, and he put that man in his pocket, dog, and only remember he was there when he came back home to empty out his keys. And today, again, deal with Haaland at the back post, deal with anybody who was pressuring him. Get forward, dribble forward, pass the ball forward, and get his first senior Arsenal goal, and he was everywhere. He was excellent, and he continues to show that, that he physically is at this level. And earlier today's the 2nd, then? Today's the 2nd of February 2025, dog. Remember me when I say this, dog? He's looking good at left back, yeah? But I am promising all of this is only a preview, dog. Yeah, we see real plenty men who was midfielders and go on fullback and then they're making their career there. He's not going to be one of them, man. As we see with plenty of them, men, physically they could not handle what was going on in the midfield in them times, dog, like Zinchenko and stuff like that. Dog, as he grows into his body even more, he is going to go in that midfield eventually. And I do think it might start this season. I don't think it would have the opportunities to wait, especially when Partey and Jorginho leaves at the end of the season. I think that that he is going to continue. He's going to get his opportunities in midfield. And he's a fantastic player. Obviously, his brethren also scored 2 coming off the bench to score another screamer. But really wanted to put focus on Miles. Brandon, what you had to say about his performance and anybody else you probably would want to single out?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I thought he was great. He's what I call a fundamental footballer. I think he has all the fundamentals. I think he's great. He scored his weak foot, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I mean, come on, bro. Like, he had an insane performance. He's one of the best. I think he's in running for breakout player this season. Like, I think he would be an easy candidate. Like, there's so many good young players this season, and he is definitely one of them. Been very impressed with him. I mean, I don't think there's anybody else I have to think about.
And I mean, so his brethren, Eton,
I think Trossard had a low-key very good game.
A very good game.
Yeah.
And I think, like, Arsenal started back to score more over the last few games, right? And I think it's because, like, a lot of these attackers started to get back into their form, And a few weeks ago, Brad, we sit up here. I think Virgil was on that pod as well. It was post-Brighton draw, right? And I told you all then that, Arsenal was second in the league for high turnovers, but were mid-table for shots and then even worse off for chances created. Over the last few weeks, what have we seen more? What we saw today, win high, get shots off, and goals are coming from it. Today wasn't like you with 20 shots to the fellas. It had 12 shots today. But when you win the ball high up and you execute smartly in moments, look at the kind of goals that we gain off it. And a lot of the goals that we won the ball high up. The first goal was one very high up. Partey when he cut out, Foden pass was in the opponent half. Kai goal was on the counter as well, and that the one for Nwaneri is after 32 passes. But we've seen more individually from players. Quick start over Eton. Only 2 players under the age of 18 have scored more than 2 goals for sides in Europe's top 5 leagues this season. One of them being Ito Nwaneri, and the other person he's keeping company with is Lamine Yamal, who has 10 goals this season. And Ethan has 7. The difference is, though, Yamal has played 2,324 minutes this season, and Nwaneri has only played 680. You know? That is a huge gap in time. But I think every time that Ethan has also stepped on the field, we have seen a big impact from him as well. Another thing is Mikel Arteta now is 5 games unbeaten against Manchester City with 2 wins, 3 draws in that time. The joint longest run by a manager against Pep Guardiola after 2 managers. Who do you all think those 2 managers are?
Mourinho?
No.
Klopp. Had to be Klopp.
One is Klopp. Funny enough, so the Arsenal one is across like 3 years, right? The Klopp one is 1 season.
Jeez.
They played 5 times in 1 season.
Oh, that was when they played in the Champions League?
No, this was actually 21-22.
Oh, wow.
But I think they drew each other in the cups as well. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
And the other manager. You can't kick yourself if you don't get this number, Brandon.
Tuchel.
It is Tommy Tuchel between 2016 and 2021.
Yeah, I forget what I'm on there.
So, yeah. And look, I don't know really where Arsenal push on from this. Somebody else I wanted to highlight too was Declan Rice. And you know, Brandon, last week in your notes, unfortunately, we didn't have no pod last week, guys, as you all would have known. Nobody had time. Just was the reality. Unless you all wanted to sit down here and hear me up, right? You know, you said that Declan is playing good in this period, but it raises questions as to what is his best position. And honestly, boy, before I was really set on that, like, you know, he had to be 6, whatever. And I still think that he can play there, boy. But I do think that akin to a bit of like what Mauricio Sarri wanted to do, where he had a deep line playmaker deep, but then you had the aggressor a bit above them. I do think that we are seeing something closer to that. And with links that Zubimendi seems to be somebody who is sure to come to Arsenal in the summer. That's further along that. Even more so, even if it's more double pivot. But like, I not go far to name certain names and stuff because I want to kill me. But I do think that last year I did see that, you know, there's comparisons I could see between him and like what Yaya did. And even this season, I am seeing some of that again as well. The ability to obviously be defensive really good, but to pick up the ball, to drive the ball, to dribble past players. And we have seen the end product as well last season. He had the most returns here in his career with 16. Right now he's on 10, and we're only halfway through the season. And so we see where that goes. We see where Arsenal go. Hopefully they sign somebody. Really would like for them to sign somebody. Let me reiterate that. I would really football sanity like for them to sign somebody. And you know what? At this point, I am reaching the point where, you know, like it could be anybody, yeah, boy. But you see that man called Ollie Watkins, dog? I really want him, boy. Like my heart really set on him. Like they could tell me tomorrow though, that they're gonna sign, I don't know, boy, like Rodrigo or something. Obviously, I'll be happy. I'll be really happy. But Watkins, dog, with everything around it, with everything I would mean by, I really want it. And I hope tomorrow when you guys listening to this, that we do hear news of that break-in. Anything else, boy? Anything else you want to say about this game? I thought Timber was good again, and you know, shout out to
at right back, by the way. At right back.
All right, and shout out my dog that, you know, we all unanimously agreed on this pod that for the 2 seasons before that Ben White was the most consistent right back in the league at a high level. He has been missing 3 months now, and you have not felt like Arsenal have missed a beat in that position because of how good Timber has been when he's played it, you know, and it's only a shame that we didn't have him last season. So, yeah, I feel we can move on from there. Is there anything else I want to say? Virgil, tell me I was not. I wasn't nice about this. I was nice.
Nah, you was, because honestly, if you really look at it, this is the only way I can describe this is a belt to ask performance, you know. And I honestly hope, and I just hope that some players wake up after this. Not just some players. I feel like people wake up after this.
And by
Nah,
I
one
really
way
didn't expect
I
that.
try to tell people that's how it is.
Oh yeah, boy. And I mean, like, it's a few people that are really like first half was a bit more cagey, but second half, like, and I feel like what I have been seeing from City that I think is he think that one of the things like I do expect to see, and I'm not seeing this now. I see this here, I seen this when I lost to Spurs, I seen this when else I had some big loss. Where has the character gone in this side though? Where has the pride gone? Like to get not get humbled, but not to go through this, like where has that gone? And so yeah, well, yeah, we see where they go from there. Who else got humbled this weekend? Was a side that lost 7-0 dog. 7. Chris would get a hat trick again. And you know what, dog? I want Chris Wood to be a lesson to the Arsenal fans who say Watkins too old. That brother played the 2010 World Cup. Well, you want to know how long ago that was?
15 years ago, bro.
No, that was 15 years ago. But yeah, dog. And it's been amazing. So real quickly, we're gonna run through teams as fast as we can now, Brandon. Thoughts, bro. Forest, they look like this season's Villa, this season's Newcastle. Can they go all the way? General thoughts, and then can they go all the way to Champions League football?
Bro, I don't know. I feel like they just continue to exceed expectations, bro. Like even some of the players that you don't really think of. I know we talk about the Premier League pedigree that they have. But I mean, look, bro, it's like talking about players like Ilanga and things like Ilanga having an incredible season, and it's a collection of a lot of players having an amazing season. Morgan Gibbs is having a good season. Milenkovic is having an incredible season. Like I'm very surprised. Even Sells, bro. Like what Sells was one of the best keepers in the league, bro. Like what with a name like Sells, you'll be the best keeper in the league.
Hey,
I mean, come on, that
man hasn't left my fantasy since day one.
Well done,
bro. It's actually crazy.
Well, I want to know who in my goal this weekend, though. Jordan Pickford.
I had Pickford as well. Random assist.
And
for the second fastest goal in Premier League history, by the way.
Dog. And then in that score at the end, but I could never read that one name without hearing it. Could you please give me it, Brandon?
Nah, I can't. It'll be too
do it now, please.
I'm not gonna do it.
Try that.
Nah.
11 and 9.
We'll always love you.
Cool, nice. But I think that puts Forest still third, right? Yeah, they are definitely third.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
6 points ahead of City actually, and yeah. Anybody else on Saturday? Oh yeah, we just mentioned Everton. Hey, big up David Moyes. Because we have not talked about that since he has returned, but he has 3 wins in 3. And I just want to say he's obviously doing well. I'm not gonna take away from that. I feel for my dog Sean Dyche dog because there was a stat how Everton had shot 72 shots in the last how many games before that and had 1 goal to show for it. Since Moyes reached back, it was something like 4 goals and 16 shots.
Wow.
Apparently, like Dominic Calvert-Lewin really hated Dyche, right? And didn't want him there. Which is
imagine as a club you're listening to Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, boy, that's something. That's something. Another team that's having a good season is Fulham, as they come from behind to win this weekend and has stopped the gravy train for Newcastle. I really wish Patrick was here by now, because he actually watched this game. I'm gonna give a little bit more insight.
I watched it too. I was actually I was watching it on I was out and I was watching it on phone.
Yeah.
It was quite shocking how well Fulham played to come back in the game.
Yeah, and I mean I was
surprised.
This is the second time in a few weeks, Brandon, that we saw on our west side codes in Newcastle. I mean, like, we know Tyneside to be like, I don't want to go as far to say a fortress, but a really strong away ground to go to and win there. Because we saw Bournemouth do it and now we see Fulham. Is the train slowing down for Newcastle?
Maybe it's a purple patch. We'll only find out next week.
I mean, hey, we might.
He's stopped scoring as well, so that's not a good. That's not good.
Yeah,
I don't think he was good in that game at all. Like, not good at all. Even Gordon wasn't great in that game.
Cool. Moving along, we have Wolves beat Aston Villa and Virgil. Aston Villa has done some very weird transfer business this January. I can't lie.
Very, very weird.
And I could understand to some extent selling Duran if it is that they really have PSR problems. But
Bro,
some of
Duran
the
for
games-
77 million. You don't need to understand it, bro. They're taking that every day of the week, bro.
Yeah, no, and for the people who fight on Duran for going, dog, they are literally like times in 10 his wages, dog. Like, dog, this man grew up in poverty. And let's be real, he could go there, play for 5 years, and come back and still be in his prime.
That's
dog.
literally what I said. You could, yeah, he is literally going. Dog, that's the best move anybody could do. I can't.
But is the names that they link with Rashford, which I'll actually later talk about that in a little bit more in depth. But his players like, dog, what Marco Asensio doing in the Prem, dog? Like,
Yeah.
that's real rimskull to me, dog. And Daniel Marlin, like, why did they decide to go and get teams rejects? You know, like, I'm not gonna pull Rashford with the rest of them, even though technically he is defined as a reject right now. But like, why they going to Dortmund? I think in Dortmund scraps, and then going to PSG. I think in PSG scraps when you're trying to portray yourself as a Champions League club. So yeah, Virgil, what do you think of the business? And then individually, waiting about Rashford going there as quickly as it could.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like we looking at some strange business. You know, we looking at them bringing in, look at that, they're bringing a United goal boy that was supposed to lead United into the whole new era, and then after they're bringing in the ex-Madrid man who was supposed to be the face of Madrid, supposed to be the one to lead Real Madrid, and they bring these two players to Aston Villa. It's just strange, but I feel like stuff like this could backfire because they already have the formula there, and I give a lot of credit because trust me, I like the fact that they bring in Daniel Marlin, but once they don't overdo it, they already have there. It'll be difficult to try and fit everybody in with the current team they have, and obviously people will view these players as upgrades. But right now, how things are, Aston Villa has not really been the most consistent team really this season.
They have,
but you have to say it's good acquisitions to have. It really comes down to how the manager chooses to use them. But let's not sit down here and say Rashford have anything over all the other players in front of him, because he can't. There's not a team where these players should come in and just walk in to start 11. You already have some players right now.
But to be fair, if all the attackers that was there before Gordon, it feel like he's just a free fall for whoever come in, Because Brandon, I know you probably feel differently, right? You probably think that this is a good restart for Rashford.
Oh, I actually don't think it's a good restart for Rashford.
You don't know.
You gotta go anywhere else, bro. I just don't think so. I feel like I honestly think that the Rashford needed to leave England. I think that would have been a better move for him. I honestly think the media would just kill him, bro. I think they will just be honest performances at Aston Villa. If he plays, if he doesn't play, like I don't know. My question to Marcus Rashford fans would be: Are you okay with him quitting on Man U to go to another team? Like, I have no faith in Rashford not quitting on another team. And this is a crazy move when you think about it. That like Rashford was supposed to be the face of that team, as Virgil said. You can say the same for Asensio. And this was supposed to be one of the best English players of a generation. And he's now going to Aston Villa. I know he's getting Champions League football and everything. But if he doesn't show it, bro, I don't know where he goes from here.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be very honest, I kind of watch what Villa doing in January. And what it screams to me is like, yeah, we want to have some good players to see if we can have a nice season. But they're moving like they don't actually believe they'll be in Champions League next season. And I mean, to be fair, the table kind of does reflect that, right? But they are in 8th, And when you watch the way that at the lower end, that Fulham are performing, and like I said, at the lower end, then after that, you're watching City and Chelsea and Forest. Like, it does feel like it's a long shot for them. But yeah, on the note of Marcus Rashford, Brandon, Man United always finds new lows to hit. And I just would like to see for people out there, there are people that are spreading rumors online, not necessarily about me, but other people that's saying that United losses just don't hit anymore. And I would just like to dispel those rumors. They will absolutely always hit until the day that they put that EFL Skybet Championship patch on their sleeve, dog. I can guarantee you, dog, every single one of them things hit. Because it's crazy, dog. We talk about when you watch the United lineup today, right? I was in church, so I didn't watch this, right? I was praying on the downfall, though. And I saw no striker in the lineup. Where these goals got come from? God knows who, right? But you know what they do? We ship it out that player who have 150 plus goals for us, who's supposed to be this prime years. That might help. That seems smart. But you know what we're going and do too? And this comes back to the summer business that I question then, because they want more goals in the team. You know what we're going to do? We're going to sign a man who most goals in his career has come in the Belgian league, which was 18 goals. And besides that, he's never produced more than 15 in any of the top 5 leagues. That is the solution. And here we are. Shout Philippe Matata with a brace in the second half, Brandon. Thoughts? What is the thoughts?
I would like to congratulate Ruben Amorim on successfully getting Marcus Rashford out of the club, because that is probably the only good thing he's ever going to do for this team, because his tactics are awful. I am extremely underwhelmed by what I've seen so far. I think he has 13 points since he's coming. I think
that's correct. That is correct.
Points.
That is correct. Yep.
I don't even know how many games it is, but 13 points, Cabby. That ain't looking very good. And I just don't get like Mino at false 9. That is the best you have, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want to discuss this game, Like, I guess you're going to say hard luck for Lissandro. He looked really bad. Look, he's going to be out pre-season. I don't know what is happening to him, but
this one is less of a hater thing to say. One more football fan thing. I'm being real. Obviously, I don't wish injury on nobody at all. But this man is called it to injure players. So, karma is happening. That hawk thing he does do, where he's trying to I still don't understand what he is be trying to achieve by that, Brandon. Like, please, I'm fully aware. I have braced a long time. I is a hater with them, right? I don't deny that. So please tell me, enlighten me, what that technique is that I probably just not seeing, because my tears of laughter, there's probably be blocking me. So tell me, what he's be trying to accomplish doing that, dog? And so for players like that, players like him, players like Joe Linton, dog, when I hear them injured or I see their way or whatever, dog, I have no sympathy, dog. Or I have no regard for all their fellow competitors' safety at all. I don't have no time for them.
I don't have anything to say on it, bro. Like, I don't think. I think he is out pre-season. That's all I know for sure. But at the same time, bro, like,
he's been one of their better defenders since thing coming, so it is a loss.
Yeah, but I mean, 2-0 to Palace. 2-0 to Palace at home.
And it's the first time in Palace history that they've won back-to-back at Old Trafford. So they won their last year as well. Yeah. Wow. And they are now on a 5-game unbeaten run against Man United. So
you thought it couldn't get worse than Ten Hag,
Yeah, dude.
You know what makes it even funnier? Mr. Amorim, Amorim said that players who are lazy and players who don't give maximum effort every day, they don't deserve to play. But this player will be playing Champions League football. This is wild.
It's true. I mean, they signed a left back. And based on the CFT group chat, which, by the way, guys, you can join, there's people who apparently just watch Lecce games very often and say that he's very, 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 very good. So, yeah. And the last thing is this week on here, Jamie Carragher said that he don't think that some of the Tottenham backline being the worst ever, could never see them ever cooperated. Well, they got a clean sheet this week. So, so it is go. And they're going to need that kind of luck when they play Liverpool midweek, that's for sure, because they rode the luck today. And trust and believe that, well, they better start to rub all rabbits' foot that they can find, because Liverpool in form and it's Anfield. So we see how it goes. Cool, nice. Let me just scroll through Europe really fast and try not to take this overly long. Barcelona 1-0 today through Lewandowski goal, which is
Great
Anna
for them.
Yamal assist as well. Yeah, which is great for them. Virgil, I don't know if you actually did watch the Milan derby.
Oh, they was just taking bits of it, but I mean, what you can expect is a last minute equalizer. So
Yeah. That one a little rough. Then
Mhm.
we have Real play yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they
But
lost to
And lost, yeah.
Espanyol,
yep.
which means that with Atletico winning, Atletico close the gap on
So
them
is
on
it a
top.
point? Is it a
It
point?
is
I
a
think
point.
it is a
1 point
point.
between them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we talk about Champions League just now, but when you take in Atletico position in the Champions League, the thing when it was at some point in the season, I find it hilarious at them in the top 8.
Bro,
But
it's like I don't recognize you anymore, bro. You got a haircut. You started wearing glasses. You grew a beard. Like, who are you, bro?
and a big part of that, he didn't score this week, but he scored last week in the Champions League. Is big up Julian Alvarez. He started to hit some serious form, and
Yeah.
I think he's now on 16 or 17 goals for them for the season.
Yeah.
And 2
I
really
had a bad start, eh?
extremely well taken goals. Yeah, and he did have a bad start. So credit to him. Dortmund won following sacking of Nuri Sahin. And funny enough, Brest played PSG this week in the league and get slapped up, and Dembele scored another hat-trick.
Not
And
that
funny
trick.
enough, Brest has to play Dembele and co in the Champions League
In the Champions
qualifier. So, yeah, that must be fun for them. Bayern won 4-3 after getting slapped up in the week. And, that was last week, so. And anybody else with anything interesting? Leverkusen won 3-1 today. I want to say that is it. Juve won 4-1. And Colomani now has 3 goals since he's arrived at Juve, which was last week. So, fair enough. Maybe it might be something there. And both Napoli and Atalanta drop points. So, yeah.
Mhm.
That is basically it. Now, Champions League. Nice. Final table, which I can pull up here. So, like I said, we're not going to go through each individual team, but just kind of remark on the more interesting stuff. So, the current top 8, you guys are going to call it out. You guys can just hammer was it general thoughts of the teams that got in the top 8. So, first is obviously Liverpool, then Barca second, Arsenal level on points with Barca, Inter level on points with Arsenal and Barca, then Atletico, then Leverkusen, then Lille. And lastly was Aston Villa, who didn't manage to get back into the top 8 on the final day. For me, I think the more interesting takeaways is one, big up Lille. They've had a fantastic league campaign. I think their biggest result would have been beating Real, but I also don't want to overshadow where they beat Atletico Madrid 3-1. That was a huge one. And managed to position themselves really well to be in the top 8. Because, I mean, like, look, let's be honest, if we had to guess that a French team would have been in the top 8, we'd automatically assume it would be PSG. But I do think that the French clubs did really well to give account of themselves in the Champions League this year. Big up Villa as well. Leverkusen on their return to Champions League. I know they lost to Atletico and they lost to Liverpool. So maybe there is something there against the bigger teams for them. You know, it did take a last minute win, if I'm not mistaken, for them to actually beat Inter as well. So maybe there's something there for them to work on with the bigger teams. But yeah, as I mentioned before, Atletico coming back from a very terrible start to the season. So you guys have anything you want to say there? Any of them teams? Anything at all?
Yeah, I think surprisingly, if you told me Madrid would be in the top 8, I would tell you Real. I wouldn't have told you Atletico. I think with the same way as my German team would have been in top 8, I probably would not have told you Leverkusen. I'd probably pick Dortmund or Bayern instead, if I'm being honest.
Bayern, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, like when you look at the top 8, I mean, deserved. They can't really say anything.
Yeah.
I kind of was shocked actually Atalanta didn't go for it against Barca, or go for it a little bit more, because they just missed out. I think they could have jumped Aston Villa and take 8 spots.
Yeah. And we'll see how much they regret it with the knockouts, right? Then now, I'm not going to call all the teams that in the knockouts, that in the playoff round, sorry. But the important ones to notice, teams like City, teams like Juventus, teams like AC Milan. Dog, last week AC Milan was in the top 8 too, eh? Like, they missed out this weekend by losing. Again, we'll see how much it means. Dortmund, Atlanta, Real Madrid, Bayern. And with that now, we can probably just talk about what the knockout phases really mean. That's correct? Yeah, that's correct. The biggest one is City versus Real Madrid, which I feel like we've seen every year in the Champions League, right? But what I want people to remember is like they are in a playoff to get to the round of 16. Nobody here is qualified. They are still trying to qualify. So instead of watching this as a separate phase, all this is still part of what would have been the group phase before. It is longer. It may seem like a bit more tedious, but it has more jeopardy to it.
Yeah.
And we are like, I want people to more visualize the fact that we are looking at the possibility of one of Real City is not going to be in the knockouts of the round of 16. One of Brest or PSG, both who have good campaigns, not going to be there. You know, Milan can miss out, Juve can miss out. I don't want these Italian teams can't afford to sleep on those Dutch teams because they have been putting in good performances as well. So I guess City versus Real is probably the biggest ones to talk about, guys. But like, it has felt we've been talking about City being underwhelming, but Real have not felt at their best in the Champions League either. I mean, they do have managed to put together points in the league to bring back and put themselves in a strong position for the obviously first. But like the Classicos have been really bad from them. The Champions League have some bad ones for them. So what are your guys' concerns for Real moving forward? I know it always in hindsight look terrible to have any concerns for Real, what is the concerns for them? Bran, if you could go first.
For Real, I think the concerns are, if Vinicius and Mbappe decide to actually click on that day, I think that was a major reason why they had trouble over the weekend. But I still don't think they've gelled yet, and I think that's going to be a huge problem because on Champions League night you have to start both of them. Rodrigo definitely has to play as well, so they have to figure that out very quickly. But other than that, I mean, it's Real in the Champions League. You could never ever write them off. And I mean, I will leave the City part to Virgil, but if I was a City fan, bro, I'd be very scared.
I'd be scared though, because honestly, I don't know if you all get to see like some of Mbappe goals recently, but he's back in it. It's more a question of he and Vinny could coexist, and you would think that they should be able to. But Mbappe is definitely back though. He is looking on fire again. So Virgil, how are you feeling? How are you feeling?
Well, yeah, because you always be worried because there's certain statements or certain things you can't really imagine, even though credit to the whole new Champions League format because I feel like whoever idea was really had to give him a little raise. But it's certain things you can't see, despite how it is. It's gonna be very difficult to see Real Madrid did not qualify for round of 16. That is a very tough thing to imagine because we know Madrid on Champions League. It could be a whole different format. It could be group stage. It could be the final. It could be quarterfinals. But when it matters, Madrid is a different team, and that is not something that I'm looking forward to. You really at this point when you're ready to put yourself in these positions, you really went through a tough battle against Bruges to come out and get rewarded by Real Madrid. And UCL at this point loved it. At this point in UCL, this is basically like the new Classico when it comes to UCL. Everybody they will love seeing a Man City versus Real Madrid at this point. But moving forward,
but we are looking at a very real possibility that City have no league to fight for. City could have no Champions League to fight for, and they still have a season to try and finish in the top 4. And as if they get and there's also the factor in all this that if let me say City does get knocked out, that doesn't help the English coefficient, which means the 5th place in the Champions League might even go to them. So I mean it really would come down to just the top 4.
Fact, yeah, that's true. It's a lot that could happen. So moving forward, and as I mentioned earlier, it's a tough month for City because they have those ties coming in. So you really have to try and figure out something moving forward.
Yeah. Ran, anything at all to say? I'm looking forward to see what next in the Champions League, but I need to see it. We need to see it, and then we can really get the ball rolling again.
I will just let you know one thing, bro. A lot of big teams going home in this round. I'll let you know that for sure.
Because because we talk about this. Another thing we have to remember, you can't really sleep on that Celtic versus Bayern Munich, because that's a tie. We look at some.
But to be fair, this show has not gone against Celtic at home yet.
Yeah,
So you know what?
that's the thing.
No.
You
And they
never know,
always
bro.
got to play at home at some point, right? And you know, so like,
Exactly.
yeah. All right, guys. Actually, I'm not letting you get away with this. Brandon, very quickly, boy. How you feel about going on with Chelsea? Obviously, we didn't talk last week, but you did lose then. The week before, you did win when you played the Monday night, but it has felt very hot and cold, recently.
But there's a
How you
reason we
feel
did
about-
there's a reason we're doing the pod today and not tomorrow, because I might have something bad to say tomorrow. So I'm not putting the house anything. Bro, I just think I thought today was a perfect example of how to play City. Blueprint for how to play City. I thought Arsenal did really well. And for some reason, Maresca, in his mind, thinks that his way of doing it is better. And we lost. So, I mean, I just think that is clearly the issue right now. Like, I feel like his adaptation isn't good enough. I feel like some of the players are not performing very well right now. And he keeps playing them, and that's another problem. So, and not again very promising right now. And I mean, we're gonna play Graham Potter coming back to the bridge. It has 2-1 written all over it, bro. Like 2-1 West Ham written all over it.
Oh, shucks! I forget that part.
Yeah, that's 200 written all over it, bro. But I would hope that we win. Palmer has a good record against West Ham. He likes playing West Ham. Jackson also enjoys playing against West Ham. So hopefully he can get back into form. But I mean, I don't know, bro. I'm not as confident as before. I mean, I told you all when we get to this stage of the season, we'll be talking about title race. If we're still there, shock me, color me dread. We're not there anymore. So
yeah. All right, guys. Feel like we can leave it there then. Thank you guys so much for always being here with us. We really appreciate it. Last week's pod, well, not last week, the week before pod had fantastic response. We just hope to keep that up. We continue to keep you guys entertained. And yeah, catch you guys next time. See you soon. Take it easy as always.